Okay, I'm here with Austen Davidsen from Adidas. Austen, what you were saying was exceptionally interesting, and I think for everyone in the audience who's been worried about the losing share of leather in the footwear market, you were actually talking about double-digit growth in leather consumption in your footwear. Can you explain what's going on?
Sure, that's right, Mike. I know that in the past, casual leathers have seen a lot of decline, and I can only speak for our brand, but at this exact moment, we are seeing really accelerating growth as a brand, and some of those key styles that using leather, the Stan Smith and the Superstar, are hugely popular worldwide, and because they use leather, that means we have to buy more leather from our tannery partners.
So this is a demand driven by the consumer.
It appears to be. It's at least driven by the product that we're making a lot of.
So it's a great product.
Yeah, it's a beautiful shoe, right? And that classic white look has been iconic for a long time and has recently been a huge component of our leather consumption now.
Because I think the leather industry as a whole had kind of said this sneaker business, leather's out of it.
Right.
It's lost to plastic and textile.
It's true. It's very strange, but I don't have a full understanding of the reason, except that we're glad to see real leathers being used on shoes. I think it makes a beautiful product, and hopefully it's compelling for our consumers.
But at the same time, you were saying you're quite keen to take some of these leathers into a slightly more upmarket quality, more full aniline, less pigmented.
I'm speaking more for myself than necessarily the design ideas of the brand, but I come from the leather background and love beautiful aniline, natural, naked leathers. And I think there's some need on the brand side to use those leathers, and that comes with some challenges to put them to use in our factories, who have for a long time been using heavily pigmented and plastic synthetics and textiles that don't have the unique variation and challenges that natural leathers do. So I look forward to a future where we can make better use of those leathers, but I'm speaking for what my personal tastes are, more so than the brand itself.
And at the same time, you're looking to the tanneries to reduce their lead time to you quite significantly. I think you were saying you needed to be making your shoes in 30 days.
That's right. Now that's not a huge component of our production plan, but a large percentage we hope to make on 30 days. And for material lead times, that puts significant pressure on leathers. It means we need to receive the materials within 10 days. And that's extremely prohibitive for leathers that are going to be produced once they get to PL. So we're looking for creative solutions around staging materials or in-process materials that can be finished to spec, or of course, leathers that can be engineered to be made faster.
Now, from GST Auto Leather during the seminar, Thorsten, who was saying that he felt in his sector they needed to get back to tanneries making what he was calling platform leathers, their own leathers at sort of roundabout crust stage. That sounds a little bit to what you're looking for as well.
I think we're looking for tanneries to offer something compelling and unique that is only theirs, but at the same time we're making product in a lot of locations, and we will be dual sourcing a lot of shoes, which means we'd like to be able to get leathers available to wherever our shoe factories are. And that could mean localization from a tannery perspective, being local to our shoe factories, or something like that. And I think there's a balance between commodifying our leathers and sourcing things from several partners, or from tanneries offering unique materials that only they provide. And I think both of those things together will make up our supply chain in the future.
One of the things really noted from the big shoe companies that we're hearing a lot about is that they're trying to consolidate the suppliers into fewer and fewer. Is that a program that you've been doing or are planning to do?
I think this goes in several directions. Consolidation has its benefits in terms of negotiating better pricing and reduces complexity in our supply chain, but at the same time we prefer localization, and we can't localize to the extent that our suppliers aren't consolidated. If they don't have multiple locations, then we can't consolidate in that regard. So we have to keep both of these things in mind when we're making sourcing decisions. And in some cases, it might mean to deconsolidate because we could find an opportunity at a local.
So you retain a flexibility inside a general set of rules.
I think that's fair to say, sure.
And do you try and source only from tanneries that have been audited in the leather working group system?
We do. We have a significant preference for tanneries that are LWG audited.
And are you fussy about whether it's a bronze or a silver?
Today we're not fussy about the exact metal, but I suspect in the coming years we'll have an expectation that tanneries are working towards gold, if not having the gold standard.
Now, you are also making the point, as we know, that you are actually from a leather making background. And one of the worries that one hears about the leather working group approach is that some brands are hiring leather buyers that don't know much about leather and totally depending on the audit to guarantee that their leather meets a set standard. What's your view of that?
Yeah, I think this challenge is related to the industry's lack of new blood, for a better way to say it. It's no question that leather is an old industry, and a lot of the professionals in the community are later in their careers, and there's not very many young people who have knowledge and training and experience. And I think that's a gap that hopefully is starting to shift.
So you think that's more a problem of a shortage of people rather than brands trying to cheapen the process?
I think each brand will approach this in a different way. I know there are brands who are focusing heavy on the procurement and the balance of numbers and figures and less on the actual reasons behind what the leather is. Adidas is one where we believe that it's important to understand more about the leather process and how it's made and what those implications are for the final product.
That's a really refreshing point for us to end on. Thank you very much,
Sure.
Austen.
Thank you, Mark.